Hello everyone, I'm going to be talking about the Parenting Stress Index, 4th edition, developed by Dr. Richard Avedon and published by PAR, or PAR, I'm not actually sure. It was first published in 1983 and the 4th edition came out in 2012. The PSI, or Parenting Stress Index, is a 101 question self-report inventory. It also has a life stress scale, and that is questions 102 through 120, but is optional for the parent to complete. The purpose of this assessment is to evaluate the amount of stress in the parent and child relationship. And there are two domains that this assessment focuses on, including the child domain and the parent domain. And there are subscales within each domain. The child domain has 6 subscales and the parent domain has 7 subscales. This assessment was intended for use with children aging from 1 month to 12 years, and it was found that parents with at least a 5th grade education have been shown to understand the instructions and the questions. Like it says here, normed data was collected from 534 mothers and 522 fathers, with attempting to achieve the same demographic distribution as the U.S. Census. The PSI also shows strong support with a multicultural sense, like Chinese, European, Portuguese, French Canadian, and Dutch. It also says that the test's ability to effectively survive translation and retain its usefulness with non-English speaking populations suggests that it's likely to maintain its validity with a variety of different U.S. populations. And that is from a collection of other researchers. So the PSI-4, since it is a self-report, administration is fairly straightforward. You want to make sure you have a proper testing environment. It's quiet, free from distractions. It should take the parent about 20 minutes to complete. After the parent is done with the assessment, scoring the PSI is actually pretty simple. This is just an example one that Dr. Baggerly let me borrow. There will be a perforated seal on the right side of the paper, and you can, and what you do is you tear that seal, and then you see the answering sheet. And the answers are already marked. You just have to go through and sum up for each subscale the answers marked. One thing I will take notice of is sometimes it goes 5 to 1, other times it goes 1 to 5. So be careful when you're doing your scoring. It's easy to mix up numbers, because at first I was just going through and saw it was 5 to 1 and started going 4s, 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 and when I got to 1 later on down right here, I got a 2 instead of a 4, and it messed up all my math. So don't make the same mistakes I did. Also, each bold block refers to the specific subscale. So the first 9 questions refer to the distractibility and hyperactivity section of the child domain. And even though the adaptability domain is listed second, it is actually this block of answers right over here. So the scoring, you just have to be careful and make sure you're marking the right score in the right box. The orange blocks are the child domain and its subscales, and these green blocks are the parent domain and its subscales. This little dark area is the optional life stress that the parent can complete if they would like to. And then the darker shaded questions in the parent domain refer to the defensiveness responding. And so if the score is 24 or less for these shaded questions in the parent section, the parent might be responding defensively, so your data may not be as accurate or as valid. But in order to get the child domain raw score, all you have to do is sum up each subscale, and to get the parent domain raw score, you just add up all of the parent domain subscales. To get the total stress, you just add the child domain raw score to the parent domain raw score. For this example, I actually went through and did all of the math. You are welcome to double check it if you would like. But the raw scores are actually, so in the back of the book, the raw scores, they're actually charts, and this one happens to be the raw score to percentile conversions for children 7 years old. The one in the example that I was given, the child was 11. And so when you take all these raw scores, you can get the percentile that the child falls into. And what I found was easiest was getting a sheet of computer paper and going line by line and subscale by subscale. So for the defensiveness, or not defensiveness, but distractibility and hyperactivity, the raw score was 28. And so if I go back over here, the DI for the child domain subscale, go down until I find 28, and that child is in the 90th percentile. After you find the percentiles for each subscale and the raw score and the total score and the life stress, there is a second chart that converts the raw scores into T-scores, again going by age. So the scoring is really straightforward and fairly simple. It took me about 10 minutes to figure out, especially after I messed up a couple of times with the Likert scale, sometimes switching from 5 to 1 instead of 1 to 5, or whatever the case was. After you find the raw scores and the percentiles, you can get the profile form, and like it shows in the book, this is an it's kind of like a scatter plot showing where the child is, where the child and parent fall within the percentile and within each subscale. Another thing I found interesting is that a lot of these profiles are from the 3rd edition, and it's for different cases, like the average profile for parents of children with ADD without hyperactivity. There were some mean profile for mothers at risk for child abuse. So I mean, there were a lot of interesting comparisons that you can make once you have the manual. Overall, I thought it was fairly simple to learn about the parenting stress index and how to score it, how to administer it, and hopefully this video will help y'all as y'all have to go out and do your assessments. Thanks for watching. Bye.